right, now, how do you know how to find your ideal client or customer in Facebook? How are you going to find that little purple duck that I have here in the picture amidst all of the other ducks that look alike? So there's a couple things that we can do. First of all, though, and this is as of the time that I'm recording this, Facebook really loves broad audiences. Part of this is because of the iOS 14 and privacy updates that have happened. Because there is less information available to Facebook, what Facebook has been trying to do is encourage people to have broader audiences so they have more people to kind of sift through to try and find your ideal client. Also remember that no matter what your opinions are about Facebook, and even despite the privacy issues, Facebook still has hundreds and thousands of data points on people that we do not have. And they also have the benefit of being able to have this information across this huge database of people. So no matter what, Facebook will always be smarter than us, no matter what. Even if you have software that can help you with Facebook, they're still not Facebook. So Facebook will always have that advantage. And that's why I do encourage people to lean into the algorithm. Let Facebook do its thing. It's smarter than you. You're not going to outsmart it by thinking, oh, aha, I found this tiny little interest that Facebook doesn't even know I can get at. Of course Facebook knows, right? Like they made it available for you. So you know it's available. But you want to give a broader audience, like over 1 million people for sure. So that Facebook has room to move within. It's almost like, I really like how, one of my mentors, Justin Brook, explained it. He said, it's like giving a kid money to spend in a candy store. You can tell them just to stick to this tiny little area and then only have this much to spend, or you can put them into this huge store and say, hey, by the way, you can go shopping in this entire store and you can come back every single day for a month and you can spend up to this much money over the entire month. They're so much happier because they can explore and they can decide, hey, maybe today I'm going to go over here. Maybe tomorrow I'm going to go over here. And maybe they're going to spend more money on some days and spend less money on other days. That's very similar to what Facebook's like. If you can give them a more broader range to work with, then it gives the computer program more freedom to go find people for you. So with that said, I would say, go for broad audiences, but I'll show you also how to create a bunch of interests that will be helpful for you, right? In order to stack them up, just to help give Facebook signals saying, here's the type of people we're looking for. Also, what's your budget? So the bigger the budget, the more people you can target. The smaller your budget, it's just going to take a really, really long time to serve up to a very big audience. Okay. You also want to make sure that you are setting up your audiences inside of Facebook so that you don't have audience overlap. If you have audiences that overlap between ad sets or campaigns, then what Facebook will do is it will only show your ad to one of the audiences at a time because it's trying to help prevent you from competing against yourself. So that you just have to keep that in mind in terms of how you are building your audiences out. And here's an example of what we call the 5x3 approach of how you would set up your campaigns. And this is actually applicable to any type of paid campaign. It's called the 5x3 approach only because it's a concept. You do not have to take this literally. You can change the numbers based on, again, how big is your audience, what I just talked about, what your budget is, okay? It could be like 3x3. It could be 1x5, okay? It could be 10x3, who knows, right? I would recommend that you don't have too many ads though in an ad set. You have to test and see sort of what is the limit in your ad account. And I don't mean limit in terms of how much Facebook allows you to do, but some ad sets in some accounts just don't perform well when you have a lot of ads in there. I've worked in accounts where they only like it just seems to only work when you have 3 to 5 ads in there. And other accounts are fine when you load them up with like 20 ads. I won't turn them all on at once. I'll turn on, 3 at once. But, you just have to kind of see what works in your account. You'll notice it because it's not serving up ads. But this is a good structure. Like having at least 3 in there is good. The reason I recommend 3 as well is we just want you to be testing something. And this is, something I just always tell people, just test something. So even if it's a 1x3 setup that you're doing, that's fine. You are fine with that because you're testing something. Just don't do 1 by 1 or 2 by 1 or 3 by 1. Okay, do 1 by 3, 2 by 3, whatever it is that you're doing. But it's easy to remember this 5 by 3. And like I said, just don't take it literally. The top here would be your campaigns or your ad sets. So each one of these would be a different audience. And you want to try and minimize the overlap between the audiences. If there's too much overlap, just put them all into one of these, okay? And then your ads will go down here. And like I said, this will serve you well on any other paid advertising platform too, not just Facebook. So what I'm really trying to say here is when you're planning out your campaign, there are best practices, but also customize it to your goals and your campaign. So make it your own. These are guidelines for you just to make sure that you do things like, for example, test things and try and make it as broad as possible, but do make it your own. Another way is, maybe you do a lot of local marketing. I've taught quite a lot of agencies that do local marketing, and when they do that, they're targeting very, very small towns. And some of those towns are only 20,000 people, and that's still okay. When that happens, though, what you have to realize is if you're doing like a 1 by 3 approach, and your audience is 20,000 people, then you're going to have to change out your ads. You're going to have to create new ads more frequently probably than somebody who is targeting 1 million or 5 million people, because these ads will get served up pretty quickly to people, and you don't want it to be shown too frequent. I like to keep it to 3 frequency. I don't really like to go over 3 frequency. Once it goes over that, then I need to pause that ad and put in a new one. And you don't want people to get bored. It's a very small town, so people they're gonna see it, okay, and they're gonna be talking about it, and they're gonna get bored. You can recycle things. Like I've done stuff where I've had enough creative that by the time I'm back to the original set of creatives, it's been so long people forget. Maybe it's 2 months or something like that. And then they forget about it, and then they see it again and it reminds them and they're happy again. So that's really the main difference I find with the smaller audiences is, they can definitely work, of course, but your creative is just going to fatigue pretty quickly. So that's usually just for local advertising. If you're doing interest-based advertising, and we'll go into that with the audience research, do try and make your audiences as big as possible. So let's dive into how to actually find these targeted people on Facebook.